Welcome to Hoardganize with professional organizer Rachel Seavey. Every Sunday at 6 p.m., Rachel shares her expertise and compassionate approach to help you deal with overwhelming clutter. Rachel?
Hey, collectors! Welcome to the Hoardganize podcast. I'm your host, professional organizer Rachel Seavey, and this podcast is all about motivation. Are you lacking motivation and it's holding you back from getting organized? My guess is that might be one of your issues. So how do you get motivated to organize? And how can you stay motivated? Well, that's exactly what this episode is about. I am always motivated to do my podcast, but I get especially motivated when I hear from you all. And recently, I have had a lot of responses to my last couple of podcasts, and I really appreciate that. And I'm feeling extra motivated. And if you are listening to this podcast, then you do have a level of curiosity when it comes to getting organized. So you've got some sort of motivation. And what motivated you to listen to this podcast? Think about the time when you first heard about my podcast. What motivated you to listen to it and to continue to listen to it? What motivated you to decide or to think about getting organized? Did you get to a point in the clutter where it just started to overwhelm you, where you couldn't take it any longer? Do you remember what the tipping point was? Did you fall? Did you hurt yourself? Were you embarrassed? What was the straw that broke the camel's back? What made you say, oh, heck no, I am so tired of living like this and I want to do something about it? Whatever that came from, that is your source of motivation. Was it one pile too many that you had to step over, the deer trails? What was it that made you decide to get help? And what is currently motivating you to get organized and to stay organized? Think for a moment. And a lot of this might seem redundant or repetitive, but I want you to remember why it is that you want to get organized. Because in the land of Facebook and social media and anything else but getting organized, you've got to remember why you wanted to get organized in the first place. It's really easy to forget. So what is motivating you to get it done? Do you lack motivation to get started? Are you one of those people where it's really hard to get started, but then once you get started, you're on a roll? Or do you start getting organized, you're all motivated to get organized, and then somewhere along the process, and it could be a backache later, it could be lack of knowing how to organize, but somehow you start getting organized, but then you lose your motivation and you stop. So this is really common, and motivation is a huge factor if you want to change. And I've met hundreds of collectors who are not ready to change, but their landlord thought that they should change. And you know what, collectors? That threat of being homeless, evicted, ridiculed, shamed, the threat of all of that quickly motivated them to change. So I know that you can change, but change is never a matter of ability. It's always a matter of motivation. And you don't want to let life and fear motivate you into changing. You don't want to wait until you have no other choice but to change. You want to be able to make the conscious decision to change, collectors. So what motivates you to get onto Facebook and not do your laundry? I see a lot of this. What motivates you to overschedule yourself so much that you don't even have time to deal with your clutter? Guess what? It's the 4-letter F word. You are motivated by fear. The fear of facing your clutter, Because who really wants to do that? It's so much easier to go online and surf the net and read articles, and even if they're about organizing, so that you don't have to feel the pain or the struggle or have to do it yourself. Fear is holding you back, so you never get started. And I discussed fear a couple of episodes ago. Fear will definitely hold you back. Fear will make you unmotivated. So how do you get out of that funk? How do you change being motivated by fear and allowing yourself to procrastinate? Well, surprise, collectors, it all starts with you. I know that you're hoping, that reading an organizing book will help you get organized, or hiring someone will help you get organized. But honestly, staying organized has to deal with your commitment, your decision, and your level of motivation to keep it organized. So in order to change, you've got to motivate yourself to change. And if you start losing motivation, think about all of the wonderful things that can be sources of motivation. Write them down so that you don't forget, because it's really easy to get on Facebook and get distracted and forget all about why you wanted to get organized in the first place. Write down, what is the outcome of getting organized? Think about all the joy it will bring. What about having a clean and safe home? Think about how wonderful it's going to be when you have a clean and safe home. Even better than that, a huge motivator. How about having people over? Having friends over, having new relationships over, family, children, grandchildren, sisters, brothers, parents over with no shame. Imagine it. Believe it, and allow these thoughts of happiness to motivate you. Another motivator is, how about losing the shame and the guilt that comes with hoarding? When you get organized, not only is the clutter diminished, but so is the shame and guilt. I'll say it again. When you get organized, not only is the clutter diminished, but so is the shame and guilt. So let that motivate you. Think about how awesome your life will be when you follow through and get organized. And stop letting fear motivate you to get nowhere, and get up and make it happen, collectors. I don't want you to be forced into eviction or have your home inspected by the fire department in order for you to get motivated to change. You've got to do this work internally. You've got to constantly imagine how wonderful your life will be and all the wonderful gifts it will bring when you get organized. Only you can do this, collectors. You've got to step up. You've got to crush those fears and believe in yourself. Get out of your own way and out of your heads, collector, and get motivated to get organized. Collectors that are listening to this podcast on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed, smash that thumbs up button, and leave a comment. And remember, collectors, happiness is a place between too little and too much.
This has been Hoardganize with Rachel Seavey. New episodes are available every Sunday at 6 p.m. and also on the Collector Care YouTube channel. Download Rachel's Affirmations for Collectors on iTunes or Amazon.com, or sign up for Rachel's blog at collectorcare.com and receive 7 tips for clutter-free living. Thanks for listening.